Hello everyone and welcome. It's Shanna. So glad you're here today. Now today we've got a cling rubber stamp from Spellbinders. It's called Secret Ingredients and it's part of the House Mouse collection. I've had this in my craft room for a little bit and with the advent calendar haven't really had time to work with it. So today we are going to do that. So I'm just going to take out my sticky mat out of my Misty and I'm giving it a little clean. I had done some embossing and I got some embossing powder on it. So I just wanted to get it wiped out while I had the chance. And we're going to use just some watercolor paper. This is Canson watercolor paper. And I'm just going to use it to ink up. And we're just going to use my Copic markers to do some coloring on here. And I'm going to get this stamped up. I'm going to bring in a sentiment to use here. And it says, I hope your day is as sweet as you are. And we're going to get this inked up and then we're going to get to coloring. So had a really great time working with the advent calendar and doing all of the videos for that. And now I'm excited to get to working with some new product. So this one I've had, it was released on, I think, December 10th, along with another House Mouse, which I did a short with it. And it ran, I think, on December 10th. And then this one I just hadn't got at. So I'm just going to get it inked up and then we're going to work with it. Now, it's stamped way too dark right there on the sentiment. And I was thinking about flipping it over and doing everything over. And then I decided I want the smooth side of the cardstock, which is what I've got facing up here. So I'm just going to go ahead and proceed on with stamping the little mouse image. And we will cut it down and then I'll re-stamp the sentiment later. This ink pad, I had recently re-inked it and so it's pretty juicy and I think I got too much on there and then just pressed a little too hard. So with these finer sentiments, it's better to just put a little ink and press lightly multiple times than getting carried away and squishing it, which is what I've done here. So we've got our little scene all stamped up and what I'm going to do is just bring in some clear embossing powder and we're just going to emboss it. It'll just help define the lines after when I color and stuff and kind of keep me in the lines a little bit. And so I'm just going to get it good and covered. And I like to kind of go over the image a couple of different times with the powder just so that we get plenty of it on there. And then we'll just bring in the heat tool and we will get this thing heated up and then we'll be ready to color. I'm going to use a variety of Copic markers. Coloring is not my strength if you're new to my channel. I do a bit of coloring, but it's not my claim to fame. So I just do some very basic coloring, but this will color up nicely. And the detail that is on these red rubber cling stamps is just amazing. And so you get a lot of detail from the stamps. And so we're going to let the stamp set do the work. So just getting this good and embossed. And I'm going back over the back side just in case there was any warping. It'll straighten it back out. Now I have sped this up considerably because it took, a good bit to do the coloring. So hopefully it's not too speedy for you. But I'm just using some Copic Naturals, like skin tones, for the mice skin. And then we'll bring in some different colors for the bowl and stuff. It's going to be a bright and cheery. I'm choosing to use some teal and orange on this bowl so that it'll really, the colors will really pop with it. And I'm going to use 2 lighter teals and then this bright orange for the bowl. And then we'll bring in some other colors for the other elements. But I think the orange and the teal really make the image pop. And it goes along with, I've chosen my cardstock that I'm going to use for this to kind of match that. And it'll make the little image pop. But it's super cute. There's a third little mouse that's just barely peering over the back of the bowl. You can just see the very top of his head and his little hands. And then we've basically got 3 little mice here. And I just paused to grab the packaging because I wanted to tell you, it's Monica, Amanda, and Friend is who are the mice on this. And the names of them are on the Spellbinders package. So I guess there's a total of, when you look in the upper of the packaging, there's 5 mice that are shown. So I think that are part of this collection. Anyway, I've done several of these. I should do a playlist of these house mouse and put them in a playlist because I've done several of them. And they always have, cute little fun scenes. But I generally don't like mice, but I do like the Spellbinders house mouse designs. So since I messed that up, I'm going to bring in just one of my nested dies, and I'm going to die cut the scene out, and then we'll redo our sentiment, and we can add it to our card. So I'm going to get my green tape. I'm going to lay it back down on the glass mat. That mat, the magnetic mat there for my Empress, it kind of has a little bow in it, and when I lay stuff down on there, I can't get it flat. So I thought I'd just lay it on my glass mat and get it taped up so that it'll be somewhat straight for our scene, and then we'll get it die cut out. So I'm just going to go to my Empress and just get this die cut out, and then we'll come back in, and then we can kind of get it together. Isn't that cute? I think the colors really pop on that. So I'm going to use this scrap of paper here to re-stamp and die cut out, or re-stamp and then cut out our sentiment. So we'll just get our stamps cleaned off here, and I'm just going to use this little strip of cardstock and just stamp on it. I chose that because it's the same color. That Canson watercolor is a different color than what my normal white is, and so I thought I wanted to keep it in the same color as my scene, but I'll wind up putting it on the inside, so it really is irrelevant. But I'm just going to use that strip there, and we'll get this laid down on there. And this time, I'm going to lightly ink and very lightly press when I stamp this up so that we can get a cleaner image. And I'll have to do it multiple times, so we'll just ink it several times up and then get it. Now, this is really a fairly short video. It's just over 11 minutes, so I was able to, kind of speed things up in the coloring and then, put it together pretty quickly. So I kind of like to keep them short. I don't like them to get too long because I think, people don't have a lot of time to spend watching my videos, so I try to keep them short and simple and hopefully interesting enough. Anyway, so I've just lightly pressed that, and I've got a good stamped image there. I'm going to bring in my Tim Holtz scissors and then trim it down because we've got kind of a wavy, wonky edge there. I'm going to try and straighten it up a little bit with the scissors. And I'm not sure I got them exactly straight. I'm going to trim the edges off as well. And then once I decide to use the sentiment, we'll actually cut it in half. I'm not fond of extremely long sentiments. I think it's just hard to place them on your cards. And so I've recently just started cutting them apart. So I'm going to bring in another layer to that nested die set that I have. And you guys have seen me use this one a lot. It's a favorite. And it's got the scalloped edge. And we're just going to die cut out this Spellbinders cardstock. I've got carrot and blue spruce are my cardstock colors is what I've got there. So this is kind of where I'm going, and I think it really pulls that bowl out. I just grabbed a card base, but I'm going to bring in an embossing folder and use an embossing folder. This is like the postage edge embossing folder from Spellbinders, and I'm just going to run it through there and just kind of put a nice little impression on there just to add some extra interest to the card. And so I just decided to lay it landscape in there and just kind of get that, I don't know, kind of a beveled edge, and I've got some tape on my card base, and I'm just going to get it folded and scored, and then we'll get our card assembled. So I hope everyone is having a wonderful holiday season. We've had one celebration early, pre-Christmas, and this is still pre-Christmas, but this video will probably run, I think it's going to run Christmas Day. Anyway, and then we're going to have a couple of quiet days, and then day after Christmas, I'm going to be spending it with my kids. I think maybe tomorrow night, which tomorrow night will be Christmas Eve, and as I'm doing this voiceover, I should say, and perhaps maybe we'll have some hors d'oeuvres and maybe play some games or something. So just to have something to do. So I'm going to lay this scalloped frame down here on this embossed panel. And I really like the colors together. And then I'm going to play around with the sentiment quite a bit. Like, what am I going to do with it? Or how, how do I make this work? And I just kind of like the image on there just kind of by itself. And I didn't even bring any gems or anything like that. And we didn't use any foam tape. We're just laying it straight down. But I think it looks really cute. Just giving it a good press. And then I'm going to fool around with this sentiment some more, thinking, what do I want to do with it? And eventually I just decide to cut it apart and snip it in two and see if I can stack it and make it fit on here. But I really I don't want to cover up the scene. I'll move it around in a couple spots trying to figure it out. And then I just decide, no, let's just put this on the inside of the card and just leave the front of it as is. And I think it'll be cute. And this could be a birthday card. It says, I hope your day is as sweet as you are. And I think you could, then write happy birthday in there and it'd be a cute little birthday card. And cheesecake is always a great birthday cake. So here's a close-up picture. I hope you like it. Thanks for watching and have a great day. And Merry Christmas to all. Bye-bye.